Hello guys, this is the-epiphany. If you're not sure who I am, I'm an expert PvP player on the server Echo and Eliseo, and I specialize in 3v3 Kolossium fights as well as 5v5 Perceptor fights. On my channel, I've been uploading a large amount of Kolossium fights in 3v3 as well as some 5v5 Perceptor fights over the past 4 or 5 years. And in this video, I'm going to be giving my opinion on a tier list for the effectiveness of all of the Dofus classes when it comes to 3v3 Kolossium fights. I refer to 3v3 Kolossium fights specifically because there is another form of 3v3 which is the KTA, and KTA is a type of advanced tournaments which requires a different meta basically, and the tier list for KTA is different to Colo. So this tier list that I'm giving here is my opinion for Kolossium only. In a future video, I'll be making a tier list on 5v5 Perceptor fights and the effectiveness of classes for that. Okay, so taking a look at all of the classes here, we have a total of 18 classes, and there are 5 categories. Very effective, meaning if you choose this class for Colo, then you're pretty much set. You know, it's good in 3v3 group fights and 3v3 solo register as well. Effective is pretty good, has more advantages than disadvantages. Average is okay, you know, you can use it if you like. Not effective is not recommended for using, and useless means you shouldn't use it at all. Okay, so to start off, we have Echo Flip. So Echo Flips first, they got the buff in one of the previous updates. They're actually a lot stronger now. They're a lot more useful. They can do erosion. Every element of an Echo Flip can do erosion, so they're pretty effective. So I'm putting that here. We have Sardido. Sardidos are pretty nice, only if you know how to play them. And by that, I mean the process of infecting people and MP raping them and so on. So that will fit in the effective category as well, because they have the ability to screw enemies over. We have Fecker here. So the type of Fecker will determine its effectiveness. If you play an ordinary chance, agility, or intelligence Fecker who simply just does damage and shield teammates, then that's going to be an average category. But if you play AP reduction Fecker who actually has a high lock and locks enemies and AP rapes them, then that would be effective. But since the majority of Feckers I see in Colo are simply, you know, basic chance, agility, intelligence who just hit and do damage, that's going to be in the average category. Next we have Masquerader. Masquerader is a pretty nice class. They can shield teammates, they can deal pretty high damage. However, it is pretty easy to screw them over because most Masqueraders actually have they have a kind of like a low range build, so they need to be very close by to hit. So if you separate them, you run away, they really can't do much. And the fact that Shiny Protects exists where we can get shields automatically from Shiny Protects anyway, we don't actually need a Masquerader in the team to shield each other. So for that reason, it's going to be in the average category. Next we have Craw. Now Craw is a very, very debatable topic because you might have heard some situations where, you know, if you have a Craw on the team, it's an automatic loss because, you know, Coriander Craws, crap damage, they do Colo just to farm for Colo tokens to earn money. However, there is one type of Craw that's actually effective, and it's the AP reduction Craw, which incorporates a bit of chance into the set. Even that being the case, you know, a Craw that is an AP reduction Craw in Colo is actually part of an average category, because there are better options than that. However, since the majority of Craws in Colo are actually strength or, you know, built for Coriander fights, the overall effectiveness of a Craw in Colo is actually not effective, so I wouldn't recommend using a Craw for 3v3 Kolossium. Okay, so next we have Pandawa. Pandawas are pretty nice. They can save allies, pick them up, chuck them, do the same to enemies. They can vulnerability enemies, unbewitch enemies, stuff like that. But there are a lot of better options than Pandawa for Kolossium, so overall, you know, Pandawas, they are average in my opinion. Okay, next we have Sram. So Sram is pretty decent. Srams can do a lot of damage. They can go invisible, screw enemies over. The most common type of Sram in Colo is the Cloudy Dofus Sram, who buffs up the traps and stuff, and then on turn 3 tries to do 5,000 damage. So, that being said, it is actually pretty easy to screw them over, because you just have to shield yourself or run very far away so they can't get to you, or if you play a team like mine where I have 50% resistance, it's impossible for them to one-turn me. But overall, the Sram class is pretty average in my opinion. Okay, next we have Eliotrope. So Eliotrope, you know, pretty nice, high damage from range. Most common one is agility. Does like 1,000 damage with a 4 AP spell. It's pretty decent. Yeah, but apart from doing damage, the only effective thing they have is pretty much bribery, which puts the enemy in pacifist state. They can also damage share with the satchel. They can also range rape, MP rape a bit, but it's not really effective, to be honest. I wouldn't recommend using an Eliotrope in Kolossium. That's why you probably don't see many of them, to be honest. Okay, next we have Ripsa. So Ripsa is a very, very nice class for all types of group PvP because of a spell called Galvanizing Word, which gives 2 AP to all allies. And then they can also power buff, they can also MP buff, they can heal, they can AP rape. Very, very effective class. Definitely goes in the top category there. You know, when you have an Ripsa on your team, you feel very safe immediately because you have support. So that's basically why I put it there. Okay, next we have Zelor. Zelor is a hard class to play. I'll admit it's probably the hardest class in the game at the moment, I think. Apart from Eliotrope or Rogue, but Zelor's up there. Now, Zelors have many builds. The most common one is probably Intelligence, where, you know, set up for turn 2, then turn 2 has 19 AP, goes in, Disruption, Sandglass, Temporal Dust, all that stuff. Very high damage, can probably do like 4,000 damage a turn. Zelors can also AP rape if you choose to play an AP reduction build. Either way, they have very good map control. They can teleport across the map, move enemies across the map, and so on. So if you know how to play Zelor well, it's a very effective class to play. Okay, next we have Iope. So Iopes are a type of class that deal very, very high damage if you are at close range. Most common types of Iopes are Strength or Agility, which require close range. Agility Iopes are actually a bit weak because they focus on erosion. Their spells have lower damage than Strength. Strength spells have only like melee range, such as Concentration, Fit of Rage, Iope's Wrath. So it is very easy to screw an Iope over, unless you have a good team to set you up to hit. If you're in a big map, it's pretty hard to play Iope because you won't be able to reach the enemy. So overall, Iopes are not effective in Kolossium, to be honest. Okay, next we have Mage. Mage is pretty good if you know how to play them. Common builds these days include Pushback Hopper or Multi-Element. Both of those are pretty good. Pretty high damage if you know how to play efficiently. So they are an effective class. Okay, next we have Osa. Osa is one of my favorite classes to play. All elements of Osas are pretty nice. Hit a lot of damage. If you're in, you can heal allies. Good support and good damage as well. Pretty good class to play if you know how to play properly. Therefore, it's effective. Okay, next we have Algonac. So Algonac is more of a solo class. The spells that an Algonac has are pretty much to support itself, such as self-sustain, self-heals, and giving power to yourself. Algonacs cannot really save allies, but they are very good for, you know, sustaining themselves and playing by themselves. So Algonacs are actually good in 1v1, but in 3v3 they are average. Okay, next we have Fogonaut. So Fogonauts, there are 3 types of Fogonauts that I see. Crit damage Fogonaut using Ambush and a Drill for erosion. Ambush can do like 2,000 damage. And we also have Pushback Fogonaut using Tack Turret to push. And we have the Intelligence Support Fogonaut, which is the one using the Bathyscaphe and First Aid. So, pretty effective in my opinion. You know, if you have a Fogonaut in your team, it's pretty nice, regardless of what build they play. So, Fogonaut is going to be in the effective category. We have Sacrier. Sacrier is a broken class, and Karma has tried to change it many, many times. Unfortunately, every time they change it, you know, they try and nerf it a bit, but then it becomes effective in a different aspect. So sacriers are very hard to kill. They have natural sustain, high damage, very, very good class for 3v3, so very effective is what I think for sacrier. Next we have rogue. So rogue in 3v3 is not that great unless you have a good team to set you up. So for example, a Pandawa who can pick up enemies and throw the enemies into the bomb line so that the enemies lose HP. But if you do 3v3 solo register Kolossium for rogue, it's pretty useless, because the concept of rogue is that it's only effective over time where the bombs get larger, and that being said, the bombs actually have to stay alive. So since I have no resistance in Colo, people tend to kill the bombs. So unfortunately I'm going to have to say rogue is useless. No offense to Defy, who is a fellow rogue. Lastly we have Eliotrope. Eliotropes are pretty decent in 1v1, however in 3v3 sometimes the map gets awkward. It's quite hard to place your portal sometimes. Sometimes people block the portals as well. So it's going to have to be between not effective and average. But unfortunately I'm going to have to say it's not effective for 3v3 because it's very easy to screw an Eliotrope over. So that is my tier list. I'm open to any questions. This is my own opinion as a expert 3v3 player and 5v5 player. This is the tier list that I've made for 3v3 Kolossium fights. In a future video I'll be making a 5v5 tier list, so hang tight for that. Yeah, so if you have any questions about this tier list, feel free to comment below and I'll be sure to answer it. Thank you, and I'll see you at the next video.